My previous list was the 5 upcoming MMOs that I personally am most interested in. That list was completely biased to my personal preferences. With this one, I'm going to try not to interject my own personal bias as much as I possibly can, but it is of course very hard to do that. And we've seen MMOs that time and time again were said to be WoW killers, but for me, I haven't personally seen an MMO that had a chance to be that for over 10 years. Until recently with this new wave of upcoming MMOs that are mostly using Unreal Engine to produce MMOs with a very high quality and at a faster rate than before. So this list is the 5 MMOs that I think have the best chance to achieve mass appeal and take over the top spot in the MMO genre. For me, the number 1 MMO was very easy to pick and is one that has a very legit chance to take over the genre. The rest were pretty hard for me to rate, and I think have a much lower chance of taking over the genre. So let's start with number 5. PAX Day for me falls to number 5 on this list primarily because it is a sandbox MMO and those have historically been very niche in the MMO space. But this project does have great funding and an incredible team in place with a massive amount of experience in the MMO space. And they appear to be doing things differently than a lot of past sandbox MMOs with plenty of PvE only areas and safe zones instead of brutal full loop PvP throughout most of the map. And number 4, I have the new ArenaNet MMO. As I said in the previous video, there is not even confirmation that they're making a new MMO, but it does seem fairly likely. I'm a big fan of ArenaNet as a company, and to this day Guild Wars 2 is one of my favorite MMOs. They seem to be using UE5, which would alleviate some of the issues they have had with their engine in the past, and they seem to be using an existing IP, so it could very well end up being Guild Wars 3, which if they market the game better than they did Guild Wars 2, it could be much more successful. And number 3, I have Ashes of Creation. It is harder to sell people on a brand new IP, but one thing they have done with this project is a marvelous job of marketing. There was a lot of hype surrounding this project, which I honestly don't think is as bad of a thing as many make it out to be. And if this project can deliver on the design vision, I think it could convert a lot of people to this project that typically have not liked this style of MMO. Those are the biggest roadblocks for this project to have a bigger appeal. The fact that it is a new IP and that it has a lot of features that have historically been more niche. So we'll have to wait and see how this all plays out. Number 2 is the new Lord of the Rings MMO by Amazon, which probably might surprise many of you. But they have a combination that is critical to mass appeal, a very popular IP and a lot of funding. And they seem committed to having mass appeal with this MMO. Now of course, AGS does not have a stellar track record, but as I said in the Everything Known video for this project, companies can and do turn things around. So I think this one has a legit chance to be a lot bigger than people might think. But as I said earlier in the video, I don't see this or any of the other MMOs on this list being anywhere even remotely close to the potential that the number 1 MMO on the list has to be a gigantic success. Which of course leads me to the number 1 MMO, and not a surprise to many, the RIOT MMO. I think this project has a set of characteristics that have been incredibly rare for in development MMOs, and I really do think the last time we saw an MMO with these same characteristics was truly World of Warcraft way back in 2004. This is a game developer that has an incredible track record, and most everything they touch in the gaming industry has turned into a major success. They have a very well established IP, and it's a beloved IP, and they have unlimited funding, and they're not in a rush to get the product to market. All of these are very rare characteristics and set this one clearly apart in terms of its ability to have mass appeal. As I said in the last video on my own personal favorite upcoming MMOs, the only thing that I do wonder is whether or not they will take the same approach with this MMO that they have done with some other games. RIOT typically takes what works and makes a more polished, streamlined, and refined version of that, but I'm not sure that works in the MMO space, as we have seen countless MMOs that tried to copy WoW and not have nearly the same amount of success. And just because a company has a stellar track record does not mean they can't start to falter, and RIOT has had its own controversies and lawsuits that has gone through similar to Blizzard in recent years, and we've seen many highly promising MMO projects that never made the light of day, so that is also possible, though the RIOT CEO seems very committed to making sure RIOT has a role in the future of the MMO space. So I do think this project has a great chance, but at the same time I acknowledge that there are not guarantees in the MMO space, so we still need to wait and see for sure. And that's all I have for this one, guys. I did my best to try to keep my own bias out of this one, but that is a huge challenge. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching to the end, and with that, I'll see you guys in the next video.